Dorks, it is the Turtle Dork here with another preview of 2020. We are now in the year 2020, a new decade, a new year of movies. What movies are coming out this year? Well, that's what I'm here for, to break down the movies I'm most anticipating, the ones I'm super excited for. Now, I say this every year. This list is usually front-loaded because of some of the information that we have about the movies coming out this year. There are a few movies that I'm really excited for that are coming out in the latter half of 2020. And as always, this list will probably change as, I get more information, see more trailers, get, some idea of what the tone of a lot of these movies that are coming out in 2020. But as of right now, as of New Year's Day, for the next 12 months, the movies I am super excited for. Always look forward to doing this list and putting this one together. It's always interesting to see which movies actually make the cut by the end of the year, as far as whether I like them or not, or even if they do jump into like my top 10 of that year. But with no further ado, let's get into the list for my most anticipated of 2020. So here are my 20 to 11 most anticipated movies. Jumping right into my top 10, at number 10 is a movie from South Korea, which is probably, spoiler alert, maybe one of my favorite movies of this past decade, of the tens, which was Train to Busan. Just heard about this maybe about a month or so ago, that they were making a sequel to a movie called Peninsula. Well, at least that's the working title for Train to Busan 2, which is called Peninsula. Looking forward to this movie. I have no idea what this is actually going to be. Of course, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Train to Busan, but a few characters don't make it out of that movie, so it feels like we're going to be dealing with a whole new cast of characters, which is still, but again, if you bring in a lot of those character moments, the drama from Train to Busan, which made that movie so great, then that gets me super excited to go back on that ride again with a new set of characters. If you could wrap me in emotionally to that story the way you did in the first one. So because I don't know much about it, but as much as I love the first movie, this one is high on my radar. Number 9 for me is Black Widow. Now, we kind of know what happens to Black Widow at the end of Avengers Endgame. So this one takes place, from what I'm hearing, between Civil War and Infinity War. So when Cap and Falcon and Black Widow have left, and then they're hiding and they're on the run. And this is kind of like her little side adventure. But I think what they're actually going to try to do knowing how the character's end comes in Endgame, is that we're really setting up for the future. It's going to be kind of good to kind of see this kind of little side story and get a little bit more information about Black Widow and who she is and the people that she associates with, and a little bit about her history and how she came to be. But it feels like they're kind of setting up her sister, played by Florence Pugh, as the next Black Widow. And it feels like that's where this film is kind of leading, and that's what it's kind of setting up, is kind of filling in a little bit of some of the backstory from the Infinity Saga, but also propelling us into the future of where this character will go into the future. And at number 8, I have Wonder Woman 1984. Yes, another movie that is doing a retrospective, going back to some nostalgia from the 80s, which I'm still looking forward to. But yeah, I love the trailer. The trailer just really just skyrocketed this one as far as my anticipation for this film. Definitely was looking forward to it, but I thought that trailer really sold me, which is what a trailer should do. But I like the vibrancy of the colors that we get, that really harkens back to that nostalgia of the 80s. And at number 7 I have is Christopher Nolan's next film, Tenet. This movie I'm super excited for. You kind of had me when you told me that this movie could possibly take place within the world of Inception. Inception might be my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. It's definitely one of my favorite films of the past decade as well. So yeah, when you tell me that this is within that world, you had me right then. Don't know much about a lot of the plot details, but I love the cast. I love John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, Elizabeth Debicki, and yeah, I mean, Christopher Nolan has kind of gone into that upper echelon of where Tarantino is, where his films kind of becomes an event. The name of Christopher Nolan kind of sells the film on itself. So yeah, that one, highly looking forward to that one. Next I have is Top Gun Maverick at number 6. Top Gun Maverick, I was looking forward to this film as well. Again, another sequel to a film from the 80s, so this is kind of coming, what, 34 years after the first film. But I gotta tell you, just like with Wonder Woman, after seeing this trailer, this one solidified its place as one of my most anticipated movies. You talk to TurtleDork, and you know, he'll tell you that it's probably, well, I won't spoil anything from his list or what he's anticipating, but seeing this trailer on the big screen, especially in IMAX with the sound system, yeah, that it just gives you goosebumps when you hear that bell sound, that classic ring from Top Gun, and then you hear a lot of the music. The trailer just really, it really sells you on nostalgia, but really just kind of updating a lot of that material. So it's great to see an older Maverick, a Maverick that's in a different position, also still feels a bit rebellious. So yeah, this just has all the markings of everything that I'm kind of hoping to get from Top Gun Maverick. At number 5 I have the Pixar film Soul. Again, a movie that don't know really what to expect, but I love the representation. I love seeing my people in animated form in a Pixar movie, and this also feels like it's kind of is going to be something similar to Inside Out, which might be my favorite, second favorite. It's definitely in my top 5, maybe my top 3 of Pixar movies. I absolutely love Inside Out, and kind of taking a little bit of that premise, but kind of putting that within like the soul realm, the soul world, and dealing with like jazz music and the world that it's in. It just, that trailer is just delightful, and it's charming, and it sold me. So Soul is one that I'm highly looking forward to. And number 4, I could say it's a movie that I'm maybe more curious about than actually highly anticipating. But the fact that this director is coming back has gotten me back on board. It is Fast and Furious 9. Who knows what the actual title will be? We'll have to wait until the official trailer comes out, which I think they said is going to be at the end of this month. But yeah, Justin Lin is coming back. I was not a fan of Fate of the Furious, and if you remember when that movie came out, what was that, 2018, it was my second highly anticipated movie because I was still high on that franchise from 5, 6, and 7, even though I was kind of weary about 7, but I thought that they really paid homage to Paul Walker in that one. But 8 just completely dropped the ball to the point that I just kind of just left the franchise. Like, my excitement, my anticipation for the franchise had just gone away, and I was just like, all right, I'm done with this. So I having conversations with my fellow dorks, the only thing I said, I was like, you know what, if they bring Justin Lin back, because Justin Lin is really what took this franchise into a different direction and really changed it into what it was with the middle part of this saga, from 5, 6, and basically 5 and 6, which are some of my favorite movies. So if he can bring that style, that aesthetic back to Fast and Furious, and even as much as people may say how ridiculous it is, some of the characterization, I mean, yeah, it may be a little soap opera, but if you're a fan of this franchise, then you're along for the ride with these characters. You're ride or die with them. So, and you know, I've been ride or die, even though the last one, some shit. I'm still ride or die with them. And Justin Lin, you got me back on board. So, fingers crossed. Let's see what you do with Fast and Furious 9. At number 3 for me is Godzilla versus Kong. Yes, what is a king to a god? Well, we will find out, and I cannot wait. It's amazing to me that it's so high on my list, and I think it's just because how much I kind of responded to Godzilla King of the Monsters. Again, with my fellow dorks, if you want to go to like the Godzilla expert, go to Disco. He knows everything about all eras of Godzilla. But what I appreciate about King of the Monsters is what, I believe the director was Michael Dougherty, is what he brought. You could see that he was bringing a lot of love, attention, detail, and care to that franchise, and to the fans that really love Godzilla. And you could tell that he was a fan of that as well. Now, with that being said, I would have loved to have him come and actually do Godzilla versus Kong, but that's going to Adam Wingard, who did like You're Next and The Guest. So we'll see what he brings to it, but I think Michael Dougherty has kind of gifted him with a lot to kind of play with in this film, so hopefully he doesn't drop the ball. But because of King of the Monsters, I am super excited to see where this goes with Godzilla versus Kong. Number 2 for me is, again, the first movie, one of my favorite movies of the past decade. I just love the simplicity of that first movie, but the effectiveness of it. And I just thought that it was very, very well directed by John Krasinski. He's back for the sequel. It is A Quiet Place Part 2. I'm excited to see what the next chapter is. I'm excited to see them go off this path and into this new adventure, and where that's going to take this family. Yeah, again, just off the strength of that first movie and John Krasinski and what he did as a director with that story and with those characters, and really bringing in the stakes, bringing in the emotional connection and that weight that you have with those characters, and that family dynamic, and how that family dynamic is going to change now. Spoiler alert, that John Krasinski is no longer with them. So I'm excited to see, and also with some of these new characters, I know that they're bringing in Cillian Murphy. Is he going to be an ally, or is he going to be a threat? It's going to be interesting to see how they bring in some of these new characters. But yeah, I absolutely love that first movie, and off the strength of that, this one is high on my list, and I'm anticipating to see where the story goes for A Quiet Place Part 2. And you already know, if anybody has followed me for an extensive period of time and has listened to me on the podcast or any of my other videos, or seen my trailer reaction for actually this particular trailer, then you know what my number one movie of the year, and the fact that I don't have to wait extremely long is extremely exciting for me because it comes out in just a few weeks. It is Bad Boys for Life. I don't even know what else to say about this. When I think about my most anticipated, it always comes down to what is the movie that I know that I am the most excited for. And there's no other film coming out in 2020 that I am more excited to see than Bad Boys for Life. I've been a huge fan of this franchise since the first movie in 1995. I've told the story about Will Smith and Martin Lawrence and where they stood with me in the 90s as these sitcom actors, with me having two of the best sitcoms on television, and then you bring these two together in a movie, and just to see that dynamic and to see that chemistry and to see where that went in the second movie. And I thought 8 years was long to wait for Bad Boys 2 between the first and the second movie. We're talking about 16 and a half years between Bad Boys 2 and now Bad Boys for Life. Yes, Michael Bay is not coming back, and that is a bit disappointing. But the fact that we have Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, we got Marcus Burnett and Mike Lowry back together again, and everything that I'm seeing from this just gets me stoked, it gets me giddy, it gets me excited, and it's only 2 weeks away from the time I'm recording this. So yes, don't know if it'll be good or not, don't know if I'll be talking about this at the end of the year, but at this moment, out the next 12 months, you ask me what my most anticipated movie of the year is, it is Bad Boys for Life. So those are my most anticipated movies for 2020. Let me know what some of your most anticipated movies of the upcoming year are in the comments below. Remember to rate, like, subscribe, and share. And go ahead and check out my other dorks at MouthDork, at TheDiscoDork, at WB Dash, and at Sidewalk Siren. And as for me, I am the TurtleDork. And with that, your boy is out.